What is up, friends? In today's installment of things you can do to occupy your brain and body and fortify while you can't do things you really love, like walk or dance or run or whatever it is you typically use your feet for, feet, legs, body for your own recreation, health, physical and mental, because you perhaps are nursing an injury and you need to be responsible and respectful to yourself. One of the things you can do, this is fairly esoteric, quote unquote fairly. I can't make the air quotes because I'm holding caterpillars. And I'm going to lovingly place them underneath the bird feeder in my yard because my current project is walking around my garden and harvesting. I don't know if you can see. I have some beautiful greens, beautiful tree collards of various kinds, and they get eaten a lot by this particular caterpillar, and the birds eat the caterpillars, and they do a great job. They really keep this garden. Honestly, it would be to the ground at this point. Those caterpillars are hungry, like the kids' book tells you. And I'm distracted. I'm like, oh, this plant always has some on it. Anyway, back to the feet, back to the body, the rehab. I'm half joking to say that this is an exercise in walking around your garden. But there is physical learning, otherwise I wouldn't have bothered to get my camera and set it up while holding 3 caterpillars in one hand. One of the things this has given me a chance to do is breathe, which, hard pause, let's just say, I cannot tell you, I must tell you. Correction, I must tell you, and I will, I intend, I've been intending for many moons. To tell you how important it is for you to work on your breathing to support your body, and in particular your gait. So if you're here because you study feet, you want to move, run, walk better, etc., do all the things, and all the things that running and walking better helps you do in your own body, right? Those are both activities on their own and in their own right, but they're screens, they're prerequisites to other types of activity you want to do. Okay. Regardless, breathing will completely level change your physical capacity in anything you want to do. That should be obvious to us, that something as foundational as the way we respire, just like it should be obvious to us that our foot strength would make a major game-changing, level-changing, magnitude-transforming change in how we use our body, the way we breathe impacts everything we do. Everything we do. It affects every joint, every muscle in our body. It has a main line to our nervous system, which controls every muscle in our body and is looking for information from every fiber, right? Not quite every, but all the nerve fibers, and there's a lot of them. So this has given me a chance to breathe. Now, that's just level 1. Meaningfully, in terms of like physical benefit, it's given me a chance to breathe in different physical positions, which is cool. So I've been working on my breathing, and just, again, sidebar that to a separate video, in terms of the mechanics of breathing, and then how to optimize your breath for different things, like creating abdominal pressure versus a more of a relaxation state. Are you trying to upregulate or downregulate your nervous system? Are you supporting your back? Are you trying to mobilize your spine? Are you trying to have a mobile spine that's also safe, right, and stable, etc.? Are you worried about your hip stability? Are you worried about your posture? Sciatica bothering you? Plantar fasciitis? Like, there's an angle to talk about breath and how to practice breathing with a spin on each of those. Osteoporosis, working on balance, working on a stable body because you're worried about an injury like a fall, or just leaning over a table at a little bit too abrupt an angle and your vertebrae crush one another. I'm sorry, I'm literally just rambling to you the things that has come up for me in the past even just 24 hours with people I work with, for which breathing should be a part of the way they are thinking about their physical therapy. And that's, from sciatica to osteoporosis to plantar fasciitis to, squats and like lifts and like performance, right? You want to run harder, you want to run faster. That was one of the first things I realized in my own body that was like, oh, this breathing thing is making some changes. And it was like a few weeks in, and I was pretty novice. Well, I was quite very novice, still in the practice. And I already was feeling major difference in my body in running, right? And I was like, wow, didn't expect that. Massive. So, number one, breathing's a big deal. I need to share more about it. I'm sorry, my lips are so chapped. They always are in these videos, and I rub sunscreen on, and it highlights the creases for you. Other thing is breathing in different positions. So my garden is a fun obstacle course for mobility. Those are pretty wide beds, and if I'm leaning over the beds to get to the, itty bitty crevices of the plant, and I want to really get in there and inspect all the leaves, then I have to be able to lunge and take a big step and twist. It's like, slow motion. It's animal slow. It's sloth. Right? It's not scorpion. It's not bear. It's sloth. But sloth will teach you a lot because you have to hold the position. You have to be slow and balanced and calm and controlled, and you don't want to slip and run your face into nettles or something, because it could happen out here. And I'm just laughing at the other things, right? I got mouse traps and stuff set underneath the bramble you can't even see. Like, you wouldn't want to take a misstep. You want to move with care. So in addition to the mouse traps are for, like, not just rodent deterrence. Like, anyway, you're like, why would you have just separate story. So, gotta move carefully, gotta move with balance. Being in that lunge position, figuring out the thoracic position, changing your weight, being grounded in your feet. My feet are staggered differently in terms of front to back. One is higher up than the other because I probably am not going to put both feet on the bed level. Just say your pelvis is doing different things, your feet are doing different things. The surface on the inside, your body is registering that it's soil, not concrete. All these different factors, and you're just letting your body breathe into them. And you're seeing how deeply, in what kind of relaxed state can I have my body stay in despite these physical challenges. And you're like, that's not that crazy a physical challenge. Well, number one, it might be. Like, maybe for you it is. Maybe gardening is actually an activity that you're training for, because getting up and down from the ground and putting weight on your wrist and into your shoulder, it's causing joint pain, right? Or your back hurts when you lean forward and you put weight on that hand and your abs aren't strong enough to support you and your hips aren't strong enough to support you. Abs, back, all the above. And you don't have the intra-abdominal pressure from breathing. Okay, all those things. So number one, let's not underestimate. This doesn't sound like a major physical task, but it could be, even on a very superficial level. Relative to your strength and mobility, it could be. And let's just acknowledge that. Also, though, for my people for whom it's not physically taxing, like you wouldn't think, oh, that's going to be physically challenging for me, you can learn a lot by doing it mindfully, by being very present, by changing your weight more slowly, by making sure that you're not always putting the same leg forward into the lunge, by reaching your arms in different ways, right? Challenging yourself. Make it an exercise. Make it physically interesting. And breathing helps because, number one, breathing helps your body take a pause to do the intel. So you put your body in a strange position with strange textures, right? You're not on a gym floor. It's not even surface with just the right amount of friction for your shoes and your hands and whatnot, right? That special gummy floor that they have, right? Instead, or a gym floor, instead you got different textures. You don't know if you're going to prick your hand on a bramble of blackberry, which happens, especially because I scattered 1-inch little segments of blackberry brambles last year before I thought of the mouse traps to deter wildlife that was destroying my garden. So you got to be careful. You have to have good reflexes. So that's something, but I know, again, that's fairly esoteric to my specific benefit in my garden. Come over. Come over for the wildlife obstacle course, the urban non-wildlife obstacle course. When I'm talking about wildlife, it's usually raccoons. Okay, so where was I going? You can make it interesting, make it challenging by meditating on the experience. Really feel, are you balanced? How long can you hang out there? When you're hanging out and you're looking deeply at this plant, right? Which takes focus because those caterpillars they are very well camouflaged. So you really need to focus, right? While you're sitting there observing, can you move your head side to side? And does it disrupt your balance? Do you hold your breath? If you're holding your breath in the position, your body's not comfortable there, okay? And that happens a lot in exercise. A lot, in part because if we're doing something quickly or really heavy, we don't have time to breathe. But then when we slow it down, we realize we might be holding our breath anyway because we're not really strong or stable or balanced there. And that's a red flag that we are running through every time. It's a caution tape stop sign. Your body's like, you're not breathing. It's because it's not safe. I'm not strong or stable. And you're like, my shoulders hurt when I do overhead pressing. It's like, well, your fucking shoulders aren't stable. And if you did it slowly, you might realize that you weren't breathing, and breathing would help you move your rib cage better and stabilize your shoulders better, but you're running through that stop sign too fast. So something like, basically like different variations on hands and knees positions, right? Different variations of quadruped at asymmetrical positions is a great way to just foundational dynamic balance hands and feet. Stabilize your hips, stabilize your shoulders, stabilize your core. It's like we have all these exercises like side plank, regular plank, plank in bear position, plank down dog type plank. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So you might not have a garden to inspire it, and you might not have a reason, like protecting your plants from the caterpillars or feeding your bird population. I get such a kick out of them finding the caterpillars that I leave for them. They're like actually up in the tree right now waiting for me to leave. They're like, we know you left us food. I can hear them congregating in the neighbor's tree. Anyway, it's the hummingbird talking smack. If you hear the little talking smack, come on already. Okay, I digress. All to say, find simple movements that you take for granted, do them slowly, and breathe. And I've only addressed the benefit to your brain for the physical exercise, but also you're getting to breathe in different positions, which means your whole thorax and rib cage is exposed to different physical positioning to then go through the intercostal experience of breathing in different positions. So macro level, your thorax is in different positions, right? Your spine is in different positions. You're bearing weight in different positions. Your shoulder blade is adhered to your rib cage in better or worse fashion. Your shoulder joint is aligned in better or worse fashion, right? Per your mobility, but also per your awareness and practice and the demands of the movement, right? And then your ribs relative to each other are getting the experience of breathing there. So you're getting the neurological benefit of putting your body in interesting positions, curious positions, novel positions, learning from relaxing there and breathing, and how that gives your brain a chance to actually adapt and increase the comfort zone of where your body feels safe, strong, and able. Cool. And by breathing there, you're also moving your rib cage in positions that aren't sitting at your desk, riding the bus, driving, like this position. Okay? Which the inter-rib movement is a big deal. It's a big deal for the tissue, for your respiration, right? Your heart sits between your lungs. Like, there's just a lot going on in that region that also needs physical stimulation that it's not getting in a lot of our modern life stuff. Oh my God. All right, guys, I'm going to get back to focusing on my garden. I just realized something broke my plant.